Update. Am I the a-hole for thinking there's a hidden affair between my husband and best friend? Original post. I, 31 female, have a deep suspicion that there is something weird going on between my husband, 33 male, and my best friend, Maria, 30 female. My husband feels I'm just seeing things and is mad at me that I do not trust him enough. Please tell me if what is going on is just in my head or if you also find the situation from last weekend suspicious. Maria and I have been best friends since college. She has always been very outgoing, while I'm more of an introvert. Maria was always a bit promiscuous and loves drama. She had a lot of boyfriends and hookups in college. She is also very beautiful, and I always felt invisible when I was around her. I have weight issues. I always felt overshadowed by her. I was always very shy, and my husband was the first person I ever dated. Maria always teased me that I had only been with one guy in my life. As we have grown older, Maria is still to be in a real long-term relationship. I feel that things have reversed now, and she keeps on telling me how lucky I am to have such an ambitious and reliable husband by my side. Around 6 months ago, my husband came to me and told me that he felt Maria was trying to flirt with him. He does not like Maria, but tolerates her for me. During one of the dinner parties, Maria was acting very flirty around my husband. She was just laughing extra loudly at all of his jokes, complimenting his fitness, and touching him on the shoulders and arms. My husband told me that he felt uncomfortable with her behavior and asked me to talk to Maria. I was pissed off and talked to her. She got angry at me and said that she had known my husband for over a decade. He is like a brother to her. She felt my husband was trying to destroy our friendship because he did not like her. I felt she was genuine and let it go. Maria soon joined our gym because she wanted to take yoga classes with me. However, she spent more time in the weight room where my husband is. Again, my husband made comments about how she is always half naked in the gym and asked him to spot her. Maria complained that my husband is being rude and unhelpful to her. I again took her side and told my husband to be helpful and nice to her, as she is my best friend. My husband said he would make more of an effort. I slowly started seeing them getting more and more friendly and working out together. I wanted to be cool, but I felt jealous. So now to what happened last weekend. Maria invited a bunch of her friends for a birthday party at her apartment. There were 7 guests, including my husband and I. Maria kept on pushing tequila shots on all of us. Eventually, most of us all got drunk. Maria was sitting next to my husband and was being very flirty with him. But I could see my husband not reciprocating, so I didn't care. Maria insisted we stay back at her place, and my husband and I slept in the guest bedroom. The other 3 guests, who were her co-workers, 1 guy and 2 girls, crashed on the sofas in the living room. I was drunk, and the last thing I remember was my husband bringing me to the guest room. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I was alone in bed. I could hear some moaning noises from outside. I quickly started looking for my phone in the dark. In that process, I dropped something from the nightstand on the floor. The noises stopped, and I heard a door open and close outside. I quickly got up to see where my husband was. When I reached the hallway, I saw my husband just in his jeans with no shirt on. I asked him where he was, and he said he went to the bathroom and asked if I was okay. I said yes, and he came and slept next to me. He was sweaty. I asked him where his shirt was, and he said that the heater was too high and he felt hot. His t-shirt was on the chair next to the bed. I laid down, but I was barely able to sleep after that. I got up early and went into Maria's room, and she was sleeping alone naked. I told her we were taking off, and she got up to see us off. I kept this all to myself. When we reached home and my husband went to take a shower, I immediately checked his phone. I could not find any messages between him and Maria. I spent the whole day thinking about it and finally confronted my husband regarding it at night. He was pretty angry at me and told me that he hates Maria, and the only reason he tolerates her is because of me. I told him about the moaning noises, and he said he also heard the same when he went to the bathroom, but thought that they were coming from the living room. He is still angry at me that I can accuse him of something so horrible, and has told me that if I'm really that insecure, I should cut off my friendship with Maria. He also told me that he was never going to be in the same room as Maria ever again. I have no idea what to do. On the one hand, I know my husband would never cheat on me, but it's just impossible to get the doubts out of my head. I keep on picturing my husband and Maria together in her bed. Am I the a-hole to confront my husband and accuse him of cheating just because of what I saw and not having any real proof? How do I know what happened? If I confront Maria and accuse her, she is also going to be equally mad at me. I don't know her coworker friends well enough to trust what they say. I just feel stupid for trying to push the friendship between my husband and Maria. Please help. Now for the comments before reading the update. Maria isn't your best friend. I say that sincerely as someone else who had best friends my whole life who were similar to Maria. I had a best friend like this who was prettier, funnier, more outgoing, better with men, everything in college. My boyfriend also didn't like her. She also tried to flirt with him. I also worried about this. I was wrong. My boyfriend didn't cheat on me, and it's unlikely your husband cheated on you with her if he dislikes her so much. Much more likely his story is correct that he was hot and took his shirt off. Drinking makes you feel hot on top of having a heater on and sleeping. Listen, as someone who has been through this, put some distance between yourself and Maria. You don't have to cut her out 100%, but maybe take her down to about 20%. But we've been through so much together. Yeah, I know. But what's even better than that is having friends who you aren't worried that will want to steal your husband. Judgment. Maria is an a-hole. Husband is not the a-hole. You are to be determined. Take this as a chance to apologize and move on. If you don't, you will be the a-hole. Thanks. Needless to say, I will increase our distance from Maria. I feel threatened by her, especially since I see her flirting with my husband and I'm not okay. She does the same thing with most other men, and hence I always chalked her behavior to this as how she is. I hope what you're saying is true about my husband. I feel the fact that I just can't get it out of my head, and it's been almost 5 days since the incident, makes me very anxious. I've apologized to my husband and he says it's okay, but I can still see that he's angry at me. Most of the comments I've read have gone in on Maria and discussed how she's not your friend. I agree. But I want to talk about the fact that you really need to be a better partner to your husband. He has expressed discomfort many times to you. You have flatly ignored his feelings and brushed them aside. You have even encouraged him to be close to someone who he doesn't even like. Stop it, OP. This is wrong. If someone was constantly flirting with and harassing you, how would you like it if your loving partner told you to get over it and play nice? Respect your husband's decisions to never go around Maria again. He said, I will never be in the same room as her again. Let that be the law of the land. It's not your place to try to force him to be around her, then get mad when you can tell the vibes are off, which he explicitly told you over and over. Do better, OP. Your husband is never seeing her again, and I don't know why you would want to either. Some friends don't stay in your life forever. This is done. Move on from her and try to save your marriage. Now for the update. I had posted about a month ago regarding suspecting my husband and my best friend Maria sleeping together while I was drunk and passed out in another room. A lot happened during the last month, and my mental health is at its lowest due to the betrayals. However, I think I now know what happened that night. I am so sorry for the long post. So the day after my husband and I stayed at Maria's house for her birthday party, I was unable to shake the feeling that something happened between them. I'm not proud, but I checked my husband's phone and all his messaging apps. I only found a brief chat between my husband and Maria on Facebook Messenger. Maria thanked my husband for coming to her birthday party and for such a great night. She sent him a photo of them hugging at the end of the night, after I was asleep. My husband told Maria that I suspected that something happened between them and asked for her to talk to me. Maria told him that she would talk to me. She called me the next day and told me that I was crazy and that she would never think of doing such a thing to me. She sounded convincing, but I just couldn't shake the gut feeling that something happened. I told her why I suspected them, and she called me crazy and that my head was making up stuff that did not exist. I also mentioned that I saw her photo with my husband after I was asleep, and she should have kept her distance from him. I decided to distance myself from her, as I no longer trusted her as a friend. We also changed the times we went to the gym so that we won't run into her. After a week or so, she messaged my husband on Facebook Messenger that they should tell me the whole truth. My husband kept on asking her what she was talking about, but she kept on telling him that she felt guilty. My husband came to me and told me that Maria is sending messages to him and he is not sure what she is inferring. He kept on assuring me that nothing happened between them that night. I told him that I read their secret chats on Facebook Messenger. He gaslighted me, calling me insecure and that Maria was trying to play with my head. I finally decided to go to Maria's house and ask her what was going on. Maria initially kept on saying that she did not want to talk about it. However, finally she broke down and told me what happened. She told me that during the night of the birthday party, my husband kept on staring at her. After they realized I was too drunk, he took me to the bedroom and again went back to the living room. At this point, he was sitting next to Maria and kept on touching her legs playfully. Maria was also very drunk and they decided to call it a night in 30 minutes. Maria said that my husband followed her to her room and he started undressing her and they were intimate together. She told me that she was too drunk to consent to anything and felt like he sexually assaulted her. She kept quiet to keep peace, but it was bugging her from the inside. I asked her if she was sure that she was too drunk that night, and she said that although she was drunk, she remembers all the details. I confronted my husband, but he still kept on telling me that what he was telling was the truth, and Maria never liked him and was playing me for a fool. He was so angry at me that he left the house and is currently living in a hotel nearby. He keeps on calling me and asking me to trust him, but I don't know how I can trust him now. I never expected him to do such a thing. Maria has also been trying to talk to me and asking me to be there to support her. However, I do not know if I can look at either one of them. I am just going to try and cope with the situation and plan to go and live with my parents for a few days until my husband and I agree about our future. I know you all thought that I was crazy in the previous post, but I knew in my gut that something was wrong and never expected my life to suddenly come to this point. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for going to my birthday dinner without my husband when he wasn't ready on time? Plus update. Original post. It was my 40 female 40th birthday a few days ago, and we had a reservation for a table at a nice restaurant for 7 p.m. It takes about 20 minutes to drive to the restaurant, so I plan to leave the house at 6:30 to build in time for traffic and picking up my father. My husband, 43 male, had decided to do a bit of work on his car for about a half an hour before we needed to leave. At 6:30, when the kids and I were waiting by the door, he was still doing it. He hadn't changed and hadn't showered. I told him to quickly get ready, but it got to 6:50 and he still wasn't ready yet, so I decided to just leave without him. He has a habit of always running late when we go out, and he is always the last one to be ready. Normally, I can tolerate it since it only sets things back by 10 minutes at the most, but my birthday dinner was important to me, and I had been looking forward to it for weeks. Making us wait for 20 minutes was taking the mix, so I yelled out that we were leaving and left because I didn't want to lose the table since we would arrive at about 7:20. I called the restaurant to let them know that we would be late, and we luckily still had our table. But my husband didn't show up at the restaurant, and when we got home, he was mad at me. I told him that I was tired of him not respecting my time and always making people wait for him, and that he could have made his own way to the restaurant. My father agreed with my decision to leave without him, but my kids were a little upset that he wasn't there to have dinner with us. So am I the a-hole? Now for the update. First and most importantly, thank you so much for all the support and advice. It really means a lot to me, since so many of you have helped me out. I thought I would give an update on how things have been over the last couple of weeks. My oldest had a school football match last week, a few days after I posted my original post. I planned for us to leave at 5 p.m., and as per my resolution to not tolerate his tardiness anymore, left at 5 p.m. without my husband since he wasn't ready. Just like with my birthday dinner, he didn't show up. My youngest and I had a lovely time watching the match and supporting my eldest. He even scored a goal and his team won. Last weekend, I met up with a couple of friends to catch up over lunch, and both of my sons were going to their friend's birthday party the same day. My husband was in charge of dropping them off since my thing began about an hour before the party. I told him a week in advance, the day before and before I left the house, that he needed to get the kids to the party on time. I even followed the advice of some comments on my original post and told him that the party began at 12:30 instead of 1 p.m., so that the kids wouldn't be late if my husband wasn't ready to leave on time. At 1:30, I got a call from the birthday boy's dad asking if my sons were still coming to the party, and I also saw that I missed a call from my eldest. My husband had not taken them. I rang him several times and he wouldn't pick up. So I called my eldest and he answered the phone in tears. He said that their dad was doing work on his car again, and when the kids asked him to take them to the party, he yelled at them and called them whiny brats. I said goodbye to my friends and went home to take my kids to their party. They were an hour late. He didn't care that the kids felt humiliated and missed a good deal of the party, which also meant that their friend was upset with them. Something inside me snapped and I decided I was done. Your comments have put my marriage and my husband's behavior into perspective and opened my eyes. I had a look at some of the literature and such that some of you recommended, and I have talked to my dad about what to do next. I spoke to the kids as well about the very likely possibility of their father and I splitting up. They weren't completely happy with it, which is understandable, but they agreed that it was the right decision. They said that they felt scared of their father on several recent occasions and didn't trust him anymore, which was heartbreaking to hear. I haven't been happy for a while, and neither of the kids, I now realize. In addition to my husband being late or not showing up at all, there have been other issues in our relationship, and you have helped me realize the truth about his treatment of our family and given me the strength that I need to put a stop to it. I can no longer justify his behavior or make excuses for him. Along with being late to my mother's funeral, he offered no emotional support when she died to either me or the kids, which should have been enough to make me seriously consider my marriage, but I'm glad it's finally happened now. A couple of days ago, I told my husband how I felt and sent him my original post. To be honest, I have no interest in marriage counseling. I just wanted to move on with my life, but I suggested he look into therapy for himself. I explained that it didn't feel like he was part of the family anymore and that our sons and I were struggling with the strain in our marriage, and I'm sure he has too. It's not a healthy environment for me, my sons, or my husband, and I can't let my kids miss out because of their father's incompetence any longer. I told him that I want a divorce, and as many of you have predicted, which he accepted, he told me that he no longer wants my involvement in anything to do with the family and will move out ASAP. My sons and I will go about our lives, and the soon-to-be ex-husband will go about his. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. You're all my heroes, and I will be forever grateful. Thank you. Story 3, 28 male and 28 female. Told fiance that he was cheated on in the last 4 relationships due to emotional unavailability, and an apology has been requested before moving on. We were heated, and I think a lot of suppressed emotions have come up since the start of the wedding planning. So, future husband, male 28, and I, 28 female, are engaged after 5 years of dating. We have had a rocky road with future mother-in-law and the oversharing about us. Now, he won't admit it, but she will nonchalantly bring up things that him and I argued about in private. It's over brunch, dinner, etc., that she requested right after a conflict. A recent example is how we were deciding on buying a house first versus planning the wedding. I have a child who just started kindergarten, so I wanted to set down some roots in a home that she could grow up in. I have had the down payment for over 2 years and said that I would cover his portion or we could work something out. However, during the most recent event his mom invited me to, she randomly says, "Well, you know, I didn't buy a house until I was 35, so people do things at different times in their lives." But what got to me was knowing that yet again another argument we had in private was brought public to his mom. Typically now after we have an argument, he will avoid me, go to bed early, deflect among other avoidant things. If I even get the least bit of argumentative, he leaves. He not only tells her the bad stuff though, he may call me second if something good happens, but never first. Sometimes I have to find out from his mom or other people. Not only this, he recently showed me a message about the wedding financials where future mother-in-law laid out what she's paying for, and she said, "You know, your dad really thinks both parents should be paying the same, but we won't get bogged down by that." I'm literally paying the difference of my portion. It will be 50-50, and he absolutely refused to tell her that because he couldn't see why it was important. So I reached my tipping point this morning and I realized that this is not just one instance and it will probably continue. So I said that his last 4 girlfriends most likely cheated on him due to his third presence in the relationship that already provides the emotional and mental support he needs. This presence has also taught him that he is literally always number one and acts as such. An apology has been requested before continuing talking and wedding planning. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.